Alright, today is Sunday, February 5th. And the engine's been apart for a couple of weeks. And it took me that long to get all of my parts. Some of them came in immediately, others did not. But I'm just going to show you what the engine looks like. I'm not going to film any of the rebuild of this because I've already done that to the same exact engine. And this is going to be a repeat of what I did last time, with a few other things that need replaced that didn't need replaced last time. So I'm just updating you on where we're at on this. Now, I'm just going to show you how everything looked. Rod bearings were beautiful. All of them look about like that. You can see a little wear right there, and that's just where the piston gets shoved up against the crank. You're going to see some wear. Main bearings, they all look pretty darn good. Wear, but you got to remember, this engine, it's got some wear. None of them are down to copper. Only one, except for one, is showing some copper, and something got in there and scratched it. I think I know what it is, and I'll show you here in a little bit. But I got one scratch in there, and it did not show up on that journal, though, so it didn't hurt the crank. Crank looks pretty good. Those marks you see, I cannot even feel them with my fingernail, so I'll be polishing them out. And this time around, I bought some actual emery cloth, 1000 grit, for polishing cranks, so that'll work out better than my crank polishing video I did back in 2017. All the rods and pistons, I haven't cleaned them up yet, but everything's looking good. The wrist pins, I feel no play, so I'm not replacing that. I'm just going to re-ring it, re-bearing it, clean it, and go back together. There's my main bearings for a 10 under crank. Rod bearings, now I have to use big block Chevy standard size rod bearings, and the reason is this, even though this is a stock this is a 460 crank, it's not stock, it was offset ground to 4-inch 140 stroke. Stock stroke was 3-inch 875, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, for 460 now. And to do that, they get it down to the big block Chevy rod journal size. I believe these are 2-inch stock 460, or 2.5, I think. So we got that going. The crank looks good, just needs polished. Cylinder walls are not bad at all. Let me set the camera down. I did not want to kick that crank off of there. Now, yeah, cylinder walls are fine. I'm just going to hone them. I can still see the hone marks on some places. For some reason, these pistons like to scratch my cylinder walls, and they galled up themselves. They're a J&E pistons. They're pretty decent. I guess you could call them a race piston. They're lighter than a stock one with a longer skirt would be, but there are better pistons out there with a lot less skirt and mass. I may look into that for my next engine. I have another block that is 30 over, and I'm wanting to build another engine for this car. Keep this old girl for a spare, because this was originally built in 07. Oil pump, had trouble getting the oil pump I use. I use a stock oil pump for two reasons. Number one, high volume does take a little horsepower away, and the stock pump holds enough pressure to feed my bearings, and as you can see, my bearings look fine. So you don't have to have that 110 pounds of oil pressure at idle. That just makes you happy when you're sitting there idling, but if you don't have the pan for it, which I don't, you can suck the pan dry too. That's another reason I don't run a high volume oil pump. And I had trouble getting this particular pump. It's a Melling M84D. There's also a Melling M84, and the only difference is, see, both of them are stock oil pump pressure, but the difference is the oil pump pickup screen, the two for the screen, bolts in. The M84 is identical to this pump, except the pickup tube presses in. So I needed that. They had this in a high volume, but I told you I can't get that. Now, I ended up, after I ordered all my other parts, I ended up ordering Riding Custom Motorsports. They had it in stock. Got it to me into a couple of weeks. I just recently looked at Summits, which is where I try to order all of my parts. Now they have it available. They didn't have it available 2 weeks ago. So evidently I got a shipment of those in. And what else did I want to cover? Let's see. Oh yeah, I did find some damage. So if you're thinking I shouldn't have torn it down after looking at those bearings, you're going to think again, because I did find something, made me glad I tore it down. Look at these. Look at that push rod, and that's the better one. 3 of them look like this. The rest of them, even though they look worn down, they're still smooth. Look at that. That one was coming apart. They're fine on the, and they're all on the lifter side, so I got to look at my lifters real close. And I do run roller lifters, but if the lifters are damaged down in there, I have some spares which are in good shape, so I won't have to buy none of those. Those are over $600 a set, those lifters. And I got another full set of push rods that was from my original crate engine when I first put the big block in this car. They're good. Now these push rods, yeah, they just, I don't think anything went wrong because it's the same setup I've had since '07. I think it's just because they have been used in a roller cam engine since 2007 and they finally broke down. Another factor could have been, now this year, this would be my fault, I did not use synthetic oil. I used to use Castrol Syntec. This year, and I think the couple years before, I did just switch to regular Pennzoil 1040, and guess what? They don't put zinc in today's regular oils. Not that a roller cam needs zinc. That's the beauty of a roller cam. You don't have to have zinc in your oil for a roller cam. But you may still want that zinc in your oil for a push rod. So, something to think about. I'm going to try Kindle this time around. I'm going to stick with it if it does good. So, it's pretty much all I can see. I'm not going to cover the rebuilding of this engine because I'm just going to do exactly what I did last time. So I'm just basically updating you now, and I'm going to try to crank out a video every week and just keep you updated, because this is just a repeat of other stuff, like I'm repeating myself now. And hopefully my internet won't be down for a while. AT&T are being dirty, rotten scoundrels. What they're doing, I have DSL internet, and they are trying to do away with DSL and make everyone go to high-speed fiber, which I have no problem with. I want high-speed fiber. But high-speed fiber, let me show you here, is on the road, but it doesn't come down this gravel road. And because my address is on that particular road, they think it's available. 2 years ago, they kept sending me notices saying they was going to shut down my internet until I updated. So I made the phone call. The installer come out and said it's not to my house. So he put the installation, filed it as in jeopardy. And now, almost a year and a half later, this past Wednesday, they shut my internet off. And it said right there on the screen, you must log in to AT&T. And I tried to log in, and it says your internet has been suspended. So I got them to turn it back on. Now installer is going to come out again and probably tell me I don't have high-speed fiber out here. So I'm going to shut this video off quick. For some reason, my camera is telling me I'm running out of chip space, and I don't know why. It shouldn't be. But anyway, this is just an update. Hopefully I won't get kicked off the internet again, and I can keep giving y'all some videos on my progress on this engine and get it together and hopefully get some other stuff going. Thanks for watching, guys.